snowy drive. First thing I want to do is I want to knit. So you all know, you've seen it before, Sarah's sock. Now because I'm at work here, I've got my fancy sock blockers. I don't block my socks to block them properly for fit. These are solely to make my socks look pretty, that's all. It's just a basic plain vanilla sock, and it's a yarn by now defunct, I believe, company called Wool & Boon, indie dyer. This yarn has been in my stash forever. And last weekend, I got myself completely past the gusset decreases, and I am now zooming down the foot. So I'm going to put on some Flosstube, and I'm going to knit a few rounds of sock. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I had a little mini finish of the February portion of a stitch along that I'm hosting, the Mama Loves You GB Hannah Attwater 1832. I finished it a couple of days ago, and I haven't, I think, did I share it on Instagram? I don't even think I did, but I shared it in the Facebook group. There's a Facebook group if you're wanting to participate or you already are participating. It's just called Hannah Attwater 1832. I posted it in there, but I haven't shared it with you yet. So I'll do that next. But I don't know, I'm gonna do a few rounds of my sock first. So first up, I'm going to watch the Artsy Housewife. Gigi and Boone have a Flosstube up from 6 days ago. And so I'm going to catch up with them first, and then I'm going to check out Stitching Tea with B. I'm going to do that next. Now I thought I would show you. I've mentioned that my husband was packing up my father-in-law's condo here in London. My father-in-law Herb now lives in Italy with my sister-in-law, and so we are in the process of clearing out his condo, and he will be selling it. So of course, as you know, when you are downsizing and getting rid of things, there was a spare television that nobody wanted. And I put up my hand and I said, would anyone mind if I took that TV to work so that I could have a large screen to watch Flosstube on? And everybody agreed that I could have the television. So lucky me, I now have a television at work that I've got hooked up to the internets, and I can watch Flosstube on the big screen. So let me turn around. I'll show you my little setup here. Check it out. Pretty sweet, hey? So that's what I get to watch my Flosstube on. So here's my sock, ready to go. That's the whip I'm going to show you in a few minutes. That's what I'm maybe thinking about having a look at soon. And on my desk, my little dough bowl from Michael's that I bought, very inexpensive, filled with all of my treasures from my friends. And then over there's my dog, keeping me company. So it's not a bad way to disappear from the world for a few hours, if I'm honest.
Model stitched by Cindy Lou. The fabric
Have you seen Gigi's market releases?
Studio. Oh, I have it right here. Yeah. Very crumbled by Oak Studio Fabrics. Let me just double check that though, or I just move on. Oh, Crown Studios.
If you haven't watched their video yet,
Okay.
Bun Bun, first one,
And this
so good.
is 32
So
count.
good.
I was really
Gigi,
I was a 32 count pick.
2 thumbs up. Amazing.
I was on a kick.
Okay, so
I like all that.
this is why I watch these things, because sometimes I know things and then I forget them. This design,
She did a good job.
36 count.
the model's done with Roxy.
Threads, which is when I'm jamming them in.
I didn't actually know that until I just watched this video. I knew that Gigi was doing one, but I didn't know it was one of these releases. So
Most people kind of don't like it, so I don't send that off to my model stitchers to do, because I think most people are like frustrated with that.
There's some interesting very good.
That's fun. I had to pause my enjoyment because I've run across a very big problem. All of a sudden, one of the plies of my yarn was broken, and I didn't realize it until I started to knit it. So I'm going to have to tink back carefully, and then I'm going to have to break my yarn, and I'm going to have to, yeah, look. Arg, that has slowed my roll. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix it, get myself reattached, and then switch to stitching. So I did do 3 rounds. I did 3 rounds, so I'll call it a win. So let's fix it. I fixed, see, I have my progress artfully covered up because I wanted to surprise you with it. I have this fixed. You can see where I have my 2 ends. I tinked back, and I'm now past my row begin. So I will leave it there for now, and the offending bit has been removed. I'm reattached and ready to go. So that's my sock. Are you ready to see my Hannah Attwater progress? Ta-da! Look at that. Oh, look at that. So February were these 2 motifs right here. And I sacrificed my daily stitching for Salentine's in order to do this vase. This one I did maybe a week and a half ago. I finished that one. So I thought, okay, I really want to accomplish my February goals. So I dedicated 2 full days of stitching time to this vase and got it done, which means this weekend I have to catch up on my Salentine's. However, I'm really pleased. There it is. This is, you can see, there's the bottom border there. And this is a piece of 40 count Roxy Flosco Panettone with Hannah Floss Boss Roxy Flosco floss conversion. 1 thread over 2. I absolutely love this vase, and I love this bird. So this motif here, this floral vase and bird is repeated here, and this little guy is repeated here, and then I have to do that bird gets repeated here. And then in March, I think I have a pretty big amount of stitching to do for March. So I'm pleased February was just these 2 little guys there. Done. So 2 thumbs up. Okay, here is my next project that I would really like to finish up. I'm not sure I can finish it today if I want to do anything else here before I have to head home. However, here's where I'm at so you can see how close I am. I was stitching this upside down because it was, well, it was just easier. So there's where I'm at. So I still have to finish this flower and all of this. I don't know. Maybe I could. Let's challenge myself. It is 11:30 now. So I'm going to set myself 1 hour. Let's see how much I can do in 1 hour. If I really, really, really go for it, and let's see if I can finish it in an hour. We're going to give it a go. Stitching and Tea with B. She has a new episode out, episode 11. If you haven't watched her channel.
Yep. February's shortest month of the year, so
I love watching Barbara. So go and check her out. I will leave a link to her channel in the drop down box below. So hang on.
Tea. And not gossip tea, but actual sippable, drinkable.
See, listen to that voice.
So
listen to
if that
B.
sounds like something you want to hear a little bit more about, welcome. Stick around.
Love it. So I am literally at the end of my 1 hour self-imposed time limit on my closely kept number 4. And I think I've gotten actually quite a bit done. Now, obviously, we always bite off more than we can chew. I thought that, surely I could finish it all in an hour. Yeah, not of course gonna happen. However, I did almost complete 2 large motifs. So let me show you. So you can see, let's get that to focus. I'll just pop that there so you don't see light through it. I finished that large flower there, and there's a leaf down there that is almost done. Oh, isn't it beautiful? That color, if you know me, you know that is my favorite color. This chart, Closely Kept number 4, is by Nuri of Shaded Stitchery. It is a beautiful, meaningful design. I absolutely love it. I started it in February to celebrate Black History Month, and so of course I intend to finish it. I hope to finish this tomorrow, and my plan is to, which I have talked about this before, I'm going to fully finish it with the cotton velveteen that came in the Salentine's box. I'm using a 36 count cherry cobbler, Roxy Flossco linen, and the floss is Piggy Bank. These are the called for. Yeah, oh, it's so pretty. I love it. You can get this chart as a PDF from Nuri's website, which is shadedstitchery.com. This chart, you get a 2 for 1. You actually get the version that I'm stitching as well as the Azizi version. Both of those charts are included in this chart. Beautiful. Love it. All right, so it's time to switch gears. Let's see what's next. Okay, I've just paused Barbara for a moment. I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put 1 length of floss into my, put a bird on it to stitch along. This is a chart by Modern Folk Embroidery, and it is a stitch along that's being hosted by EJ of the Sunshine Stitchers, EJ and Sheila, and they have a wonderful Facebook group, if not just for this stitch along, but just associated with their channel. It's a really busy, happy, lots of stitching posted in that group, Facebook group. I highly recommend it. Some great stuff is posted there every day. So again, that's the Sunshine Stitchers. I'm going to check out their channel after I've finished watching Barbara, and then I have a feeling that that's probably going to be all of my time for Flosstube today, because I am trying to keep an eye on the time. I figure I have to leave here around, probably I can't leave here any later than 3 o'clock today to make sure that I get those pork chops in the oven on time. They need quite a while to cook. So here's my starting point for put a bird on it, and I don't have anything. Let me show you on the other camera, because otherwise I don't, well, let's see. Oh, here, I can use this. This is just easier than switching. There, you can see that. So I just have the tiniest of starts. This is 46 count porcelain linen by Roxy Flossco, and I am using the Hannah Floss Boss Hannah, my Hannah, the Roxy Flossco floss conversion. So I'm just going to put 1 length of floss in so that I can know that I put a few stitches in it today. Okay, so you will have just seen it. So 1 length of floss on 46 count took me 20 minutes to stitch, and that's what I added. So it's not a lot, but 20 minutes made a difference. 1 length of floss. So it's so pretty. I'm tempted to put 1 more in, but I only have until 3 o'clock, and I wanted to try to touch a few more things today. So I'm going to tuck this away until Monday. And then maybe what I'll aim to do is next week, I'll try to do 1 length of floss for the 5 work days. That's so pretty. So pretty. Okay, so what's next? Well, I should probably put a few stitches into my Salentines. However, I was planning on working on this tonight. So this is, let me show you where I'm at. Here's the chart. That's what we're going to end up with. On a folk embroidery, I'm stitching this on a 40 count arrowroot, which was the fabric that came in the kit, and I'm using the called for Roxy Flossco flosses, 1 strand of floss over 2. So I'm a little bit behind because last week, I guess still this week, it's Saturday today, this week was really work heavy, and so I didn't have a lot of extra stitching time, and the extra stitching time I did, you may remember, I focused on Hannah Attwater. So I didn't get any stitches in this for 2 full days, and then yesterday, Friday, I added another 172 stitches right there. Now, the stitching that I had done in the days before that, I had done more than 240. Not much, but enough that I felt like I could count that as a full day yesterday. So I'm 2 full days behind. So 480 stitches I still need to make up. But my sister-in-law, Kathy, is also a crafter, and I know that we are going to be sitting together and stitching tonight and probably a big part of tomorrow as well. So I'm not worried about it. And I was working on this last week. She was at my house with my niece Clara last week. I was working on this when we were together last week. So I don't know. She doesn't care what I work on, but to me it's a continuation of the good time we were having last week. So I'll probably work on this then. So that leaves me with, what am I going to work on now? Let me have a little root around, because maybe it's time for a new start. Maybe that's the answer. Let's see what I can dig up. I brought this to show you. I brought this from home. I took it off my frame because I knew I wanted to show you my progress on this, to prove to you that I have been working on it. My Blackbird Designs loose feathers. Look at that. Look at that. So the last time I recorded on this channel that I showed this to you was probably 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. So I've done a fair bit. Top part is almost all done. The side border's all done. Ear is put in. I only have one more motif to put in on that bottom band. And look at it. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, it's just so pretty. Yeah. This is such a gorgeous piece. And yes, I'm stitching it sideways on my scroll rods. I always forget because it's obvious to me what I'm doing, but then I'll have questions about it. Why is it sideways? This particular piece I am stitching sideways because that was the length of scroll rod that I had available to me at the time that I wanted to stitch this. And I'm far too lazy to take it off and put it on something else. It works for me. All I do is hold my pattern sideways. And yes, all of my X's are going a different direction than how they normally would, because I am stitching it the way that I normally would, but sideways. So when I turn it this way, of course, my stitches will have the top leg going in the opposite direction to what I would normally stitch. However, can you tell? Can you tell that my stitches are going the different direction? No, I don't care. And really, it's not hard to wrap your brain around stitching something sideways as long as you're holding the chart sideways. I will stitch whatever direction works. So for example, you might have noticed, and I think I did say, currently I'm stitching closely kept upside down in order to be able to best reach that top left corner, because when I flip it, it's in the bottom right. And of course, if you go fully 180, then your stitches will, your top leg will be the same no matter whether you're stitching it right side up or upside down. Oh, I have to sneeze, honey. Okay, so yeah, it's just a convenience thing. It was a convenience thing because that's the length of rod I had. Now, I now have access to lots of scroll rods. I'm not sure that I would have stitched it this way. Maybe I would have, because I am stitching Frauke Frauke Siemens Boss. That's a super long one on a wide quarter of fabric, 40 count. I love this piece so much. I've done so little, and I just, these are the pieces that I dream about. So this is, so yeah, this is a wide quarter of linen, which is 18 by 26, and I have it on a set of 30-inch scroll rods so that I could stitch it right side up. So I guess I can't really say that I wouldn't do it again. Wouldn't not do it again. Hard to say. That's a modern folk embroidery piece. Frauke, F-R-O-U-W-K-E. Frauke Siemens Boss. Beautiful pattern. Absolutely beautiful pattern. I really, oh, so good. So good. Starting that just made me happy. I don't regret a thing. So yeah, this is closing in on a finish. Now this is literally one of my oldest whips. I think I started it in either 2012, somewhere around there. And I'm absolutely thrilled that I'm going to be finishing it. This is on a piece of 28 count. Who knows what kind of linen? I have no idea, but it is 28 count. And I'm using a super old, a collection of Vicki Clayton silks that I converted the chart myself way back when, with the help of my friend Kathy, the since retired owner of my local needlework shop, Thread and I, many years ago. Kathy helped me convert that to those silks. She was one of the only shops that was carrying Vicki Clayton silks at the time. And yeah, and I have said this before, I'm not sure I've said it on this channel. The color, I mean, the colors are really beautiful. And I will finish it. I mean, it's gorgeous. Why would I not? I'm not a huge fan of using silks, not because there's anything wrong with them, because they are lovely. It's a tactile thing with me. It's like microfiber. Even if I have super smooth cuticles, even if I've used hand cream, I have to use hand cream all the time. But for me, I don't know, the more I read about, you know, slight neurodivergent behavior and things like that, apparently tactile issues can be part and parcel. It's always been a thing. I have never liked the feeling of certain things. Like, my husband wears those technical shirts, like something that's got a micro fleece or microfiber. I literally can't touch it. I can't take them out of the dryer. I don't want to touch those cleaning cloths that are microfiber. They feel like they stick to my hands, even though they're not. And it's really not pleasant. I really don't enjoy it. Now, the silk is not that unpleasant. I'm giving you how I feel about microfiber. Silk is a little bit like that. So I would never not finish it because of that. I can put up with it. It's just not my preferred. So anyways, that's all. It's gorgeous. Vicki Clayton silks, my own conversion from super long ago. That's about it. So yeah, that's what that part is going to look like when it's done. So I still have a fair bit to do, but I'm way further ahead than I was a month ago. So I'm taking it back home and I will work on it again. Okay, now I get to start my new start. Okay, so this is something, I have a little pile of things that I need to start over the next little while, and this is it. This is the Whilst Iris Naps Designs Strawberry Pin Cushion. I find this so absolutely charming. I can't even, it's so sweet. I've never done a mattress cushion finish, never done it, so I'd love to try it. I've also never done a biscornu, but I don't know, for some reason this, I don't know, I thought maybe this might be a little easier than a biscornu, but then I've heard biscornus aren't that hard. You just need to, you know, follow instructions. So I find this so charming. I am stitching this on a piece of 28 count Billie Jean linen with a floss conversion that Hannah did because I want a big cushion. I think the model was done on 36 count. Yes, so the model was done on 36 count Dove by Weeks Dye Works, and there's the called for there. So mine, oh, what does it say the finished size? So basically you stitch this in 2 pieces. You stitch the border in 1 long strip, and then you stitch the top design, and then you finish them together. Now, I'm assuming that that leaves the underside blank, but I don't know. I have to read the pattern first. So let's figure out what Christina wants us to do. It is already 1:30, so I have about an hour and a half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a loose Q-snap, and I am going to start on the border stitching because you need it to be, what is it? On 28 count, it's going to be 15 5/8. So almost 16 inches. I've got a wide 1/8 of fabric here, which is 18 inches wide. So it's going to take almost the full width of the fabric. So I'm going to start that first. I'm going to start in the very bottom left-hand corner. You do not need a lot of leftover fabric for your border because, of course, you can see that green stitching in there. That is all back stitch that's done around each design that you stitch. And then I'm assuming you're going to trim your fabric quite close to that line and then use that to whip stitch them together. So, but of course I'm going to read Christina's instructions first. She also has finishing tutorials on her shop page. So where does it say? Right here. Instructions showing the finishing technique I used can be found at whilstirisnaps.com/pin/cushion. So she also, Christina has great finishing techniques and some really wonderful free tutorials. You should definitely check it out. She also has drum finish video, really, really good. So I'm excited. Let's dig in. Oh, before I dig in, one more thing I wanted to show you. So I'm going to show you a screenshot of a message, 2 messages that I got from my niece, Clara, from last weekend. So as you can see, there may have been, I said nothing. I said nothing. I'm simply leading by example. And Clara has cross-stitched in the past. She loves crafting. Last weekend she was crocheting at our house. So which design of the 2 do you think I chose for her? Well, you can see which one I picked. In fact, I didn't pick it. To be honest, the Modern Folk Embroidery Song of the Nightingale was really the one that caught her eye and her heart. Her mother, my sister-in-law Kathy, is also stitching Song of the Nightingale, and apparently Clara keeps trying to take it on for herself. So I thought her aunt should kit it up for her and send her home with a lovely new project. This is going to be obviously for her a long-term project. She has used, I believe has mostly been on 14 count Aida. So I'm going to challenge her a little bit with a 16 count Aida. It's not that big of a switch, and I think she's really going to enjoy it. So she's got young eyes. It's not going to be a hard switch going from 14 to 16 at all. Lovely flosses. Of course, she's going to have to stitch 2 over 2, so I'm giving her plenty according to the stitch count. That's an interesting fact, actually. So Roxy floss is 8 yards, and we do the math with stitch counts, and so each skein of floss, each 8-yard skein of floss, or 7.3 meters, can stitch approximately 1,800 X's on 32 count linen using 2 strands of floss. So of course you're gonna half that for one strand of floss, so 3,600 X's per 8 yard skein of floss on using one strand of floss over 2. So because this is 16 count, we are on equivalent with about a 32 count linen. So I've done the math, I've mathed the math, and I've given her 6 skeins of each of the blues and 3 skeins of the ochre. So I have a feeling I'm going to have a very happy niece. And maybe if I ask nicely, she'll share pictures with me as she's going along and I can share them with you. So that's exciting. All right, let's have a new start. Okay, first length of floss is in. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. So I toyed with the idea of using my little mini 6-inch Q-snap for this. And then I thought, you know what? I didn't want to fool around with it because I'm really playing with my margins here. And I thought, let's just start it in hand. And frankly, I know how to stitch in hand using the sewing method. I don't do it very often because I have to be really careful not to overdo it because it can really start to make my thumb ache quite badly. So I'm not going to do too much, but I have put one length of floss in, and frankly, it reminds me how much I enjoyed the sewing method with 28 count linen. So I might put in one more length of floss and then call it good, but I do think that I'm going to work away at that long border with the sewing method, just for fun, because sometimes it's fun to do different things a different way. Practice those skills. Anyways, isn't it pretty? Oh, I love it. I love it already. Gorgeous. Okay, let's put some pink in. Okay, my time is up. Playtime's over. It's 5 after 3, so time to pack up and head home. Look at how absolutely cute. How adorable is that? Look at it. Oh my gosh, this was so fun. So I'm not going to do any more of this today. Not hating stitching it in hand, but seriously, can't do any more than that. This strawberry won't look like the other 8 strawberries. A little bit of a Caroline fudge happened there. However, can you tell? It looks like a strawberry to me, and I'm not fixing it. Oh, yeah. That was really fun. All right. So I'm gonna head home. I will probably record a little bit more when I get home. Maybe I'll, I always get asked for my pork chop recipe, so maybe I'll share a little bit of that with you when I get home. It's not gonna be a lot of editing. I'm just gonna put these clips all together and hope for the best. I might, you know, edit out a few sneezes here, and well, one sneeze. I didn't have a whole pile of them. Edit it all together and put it up. So in case you have any questions about anything I talked about today, please leave me a comment below, and I can answer it for you. So this was really fun. I'm not quite ready to go home yet, but hey, at least I get to see my family tonight. I should do this more often. This was really good. Okay, so let's go home. We made it. Dinner tonight. I'm gonna have to improvise because I didn't realize I was out of, oh look, I haven't changed my, it's funny. I never would have noticed that if I hadn't been standing here recording for you. That's the only reason I've noticed that that's still there. I'll change that after. That's hilarious. I've just realized that we are completely out of canned tomatoes, and it is 10 after 4. I have to get this in the oven now or else it's not going to be ready for dinner. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to just use 2 cans of tomato sauce. instead. So there won't be any tomato chunks, but I think it'll be fine. You need lots of onions. So this is one of those Costco packs of pork chops. We buy them and then they just wait in the freezer until I make this. So it was like, pork chops are still relatively inexpensive. For a huge Costco pack, it was $22 Canadian. So for feeding, this will feed, because the pork chops are so big, you can even split them in half for a meal. So it'll feed, what have we got, 5, 6 adults tonight, and probably be enough to also have leftovers tomorrow. My family will probably still be here tomorrow night, so we'll stretch it with something else tomorrow night, but very reasonably priced still. At least that was back in November when we bought this particular package, so who knows what they are now. Lots of onions. I'm going to use 2 cans of tomato sauce, some soy sauce, and some brown sugar, and that is it. So slice up the onions, salt and pepper the meat, mix up the sauce, add some water if it doesn't look like enough. Because I'm using tomato sauce, it's already going to be fairly liquidy, and then bake it for like 2.5 to 3 hours on, like, it depends. If I want it to just slow cook, I'll put it in at 350, 335 Fahrenheit until it smells ready. I know, it's ridiculous. I cook, that's how I cook. Does it smell done? Then I check it, and it's usually done. So apologies, it's not a more scientific recipe than that. That's just how I cook. So I'm gonna get this ready to go, and then I'm probably going to, once this has gone in the oven, I'm probably going to edit and upload this video so that we can have a visit together. And I hope that you have a great weekend, and that you've got, you know, a little bit of time to carve out for yourself just for playing in your stash pile. I highly recommend it. It was kind of exactly what I needed today. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling a lot better. So it was really good. So thank you for coming along with me today. I'll see you next week. I'll see you next Thursday over on the other channel with Carrie. We'll have an Evertote Notes from the Workshop Flosstube up next week. It's also inventory day, so we might record a little bit early so that I can have it up on Thursday, because I'm going to be counting floss next Thursday. But anyways, take care everybody. Happy stitching.